What is your leadership philosophy?
My leadership philosophy, it's really simple. If it's to be, it's up to me. So I don't expect anyone to do anything that I haven't done myself.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Leading with Audacious Confidence. I am your host, Alicia Couri, and with me today is my guest, Tyra Jones. And Tyra, let me just tell you a little bit about Tyra. We were introduced by a mutual friend, actually, Couri Northington, who I also had the pleasure of interviewing. And Tyra is a mother of two young adults. Hard to believe, right? It's in 19 and 21, and has a 15-year career as a business owner and entrepreneur. Her passion is writing, training, and leading the Underground Railroad of business finance, and we'll talk about what that means. She's written all of the training programs for business credit and grant writing training to foster an in-depth understanding of how business finances can leverage our personal finances. So I welcome Tyra. I'm so glad you're joining us today for all the entrepreneurs that are listening to us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here with you today. I'm definitely looking forward to our conversation. Nice. I love talking about business and definitely my story as well. So anything that I can do to help others, I'm always willing to do that.
And the reason I really wanted to speak to you in this forum was how passionate you are about educating business owners about finances and how much we don't know what we're doing. I know there's a lot I don't know that I'm doing. And that is your passion. And what is the Underground Railroad of finances?
Well, to me, the Underground Railroad of finances have a lot to do with, credit. It has a lot to do with all of those topics that we were not taught as far as financial literacy in school. They just started teaching financial literacy in K through 12. However, being the fact that I was a teacher at the time when they implemented that, it's very watered down. It is so watered down. It still does not touch what we really need to know when we send our kids out in the world, or better yet, when the universities send our kids out in the world.
With college debt, if you don't have scholarships to cover it, with a lot of debt.
Exactly. Or if you did not have a strategy.
A strategy ahead of time.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. But the Underground Railroad for me is about building wealth as opposed to, just making the dollar, making your money, paying your bills. Being able to pay bills is almost like wealth in a lot of communities. And it's not really wealth. It's like, well, I pay all my bills, I'm good. I'm good. I'm stable. But we never go past that. So in order to pull people out of their comfort zone, just like, Harriet Tubman, she had to pull people out of their comfort zone. So many people were so comfortable, staying, so many people wanted to stay. She went back to get her husband and he didn't even want to go back,
Wow.
So the Underground Railroad, he didn't want to get out because he was comfortable. He's like, well, I'd rather stay where I know.
They know what they're expecting. Yeah.
Yes. As opposed to going into an area or into a new land where I'm not sure if I'm going to survive. I'm not sure if this is going to work for me, because I've never seen anyone who looked like me that it worked for.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's about breaking those generational curses and really allowing people to break free of that and experience real freedom. Like you're saying, what is real wealth? So it's all a mindset.
Right.
So
it is.
You were a teacher, you said.
Yes.
And how did you go from teacher to business owner?
Well, the interesting thing is, how did I become a teacher in the first place? Because
tell us all about it.
Man, I tell you, because I said every day that I was like, that's one thing I'm not going to do. I was raised by an educator. My dad was an educator, and I looked at what he was doing. I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is that throughout my childhood, I was really being groomed as to how to be a very impactful educator, an impactful coach. You know, my dad was a basketball coach, and he was well known in the city. To this day, I meet people who are from my hometown, and if I mention my dad's name, they know who he is. So, yeah, so that's how impactful he was, you know, positively and negatively. You know, you can't satisfy everyone, but my goal was not to be an educator. But when I did become an educator, through, you know, working at Exxon, and I realized, you know what, this is not, lab work is not what I wanted to do. I had a science degree, and I just wanted to do something different. I had substitute taught when I was in undergrad, because I had many jobs when I was in undergrad. So I decided to go after, you know, a teaching position.
I think because you really, again, because your father was so impactful, you thought that you really wanted to be impactful as well.
I realized that after I got in, you know, after I decided that was going to be my career, and the only thing that made me come to that decision was income. I looked at my bank and I looked at the job opportunity that was in front of me, and I said, okay, yes, I can do this, knowing very well it was going to be the challenge of my life.
It was not the right fit for you. Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes we make those decisions to get into business and to get into a job situation that we know it's not going to be the best situation for us, but you know, the money is good, so why not? All right.
That's right. That's right.
I did not intend on becoming an educator when I went to college. However, I do have a 16-year track record. What I found during those 16 years of teaching was me, who I am, and how I can use my person, my character, my gifts, and my talents to impact whatever, whatever career, to be impactful in whatever career that, that I chose. So I chose to dive into the education career. It was familiar territory for me. Like I said, my dad was an educator. I watched him. I was always up at his school, at his office, doing all kind of stuff.
So you were confident in that space.
I was confident in that space.
The familiarity.
Yes. But what I wasn't confident in is teaching math. I wasn't confident with that. But over time, I became a really good teacher of mathematics and science. My degree was in science, but math was not a strong point for me until I had to teach it. That's when I started getting tutored. Went back to the college that I graduated from, because the school that I was teaching at was actually right across the tracks from the university.
Oh, how interesting. You know what I love about that is that you recognized that you lacked confidence in that area. Yes. And you sought, how can I strengthen this? And strengthening it was going back to school. A lot of people don't even want to think about going back to school. They're just like, oh, I can't do it that anymore. So I really love that you said that. And the other point that you said earlier about, well, I call them your tags, your talents, your assets, your gifts, and your skills, that you really took, because I always tell people to take inventory of what you have. Because in any situation that you find yourself in, if you know what you have, you can be confident in it, even if you're not familiar with the situation, because you know you. So I love that you said that too, that, you knew what you brought to the table. You knew you, and you knew that you could succeed in this, even though you weren't quite familiar with everything that you had to do. And then you sought the knowledge or the skill to sharpen the skill set that you weren't that confident with. So I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Thank you. I always tell people, you can do anything as long as you have passion and ethics. If you have passion and the proper ethics in doing what you're doing, doing the right thing when no one's watching, and having passion, that passion would make you go and get some tutoring. That
Yeah.
passion would make you go and get that extra class or
Do what's uncomfortable.
Or go on YouTube University and learn what you need to learn.
Exactly. That's my favorite place to learn.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I love that. So that now you had more confidence in math because you got the tutoring that you needed. You got all the tools and the skills that you needed to do that. How did you end up transferring from teaching now into business ownership, and then not just business ownership, but helping other businesses to succeed?
Absolutely. Well, my passion while I was teaching was tied behind helping others to overcome, their mental obstacle. I had so many students that, math is not my strong point. Oh, it will be, because I know what I had just overcome.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, math is not my strong point either. I hate it. But you know what? It's so precious about that. You were teaching from experience now, so that they could really buy into what you're saying, because you're not just telling them something. It's like, listen, I've walked that walk with you, and I'll walk it with you because I know what that feels like. I love it.
Exactly what that feels like. And so in 2000, I think it was 2001, I was a GED coordinator at a charter school here in Houston. And I was commissioned to write a curriculum write lesson plans for GED. And I was like, why would I have to write lesson plans? It's in the book. Like everything, it's the GED thick book.
It's the big, thick GED book.
Yes. It's like, why should I have to do that? I'm teaching 5 courses of the GED, but she wanted me to write lesson plans just like any other teacher. Mm-hmm. And I was not happy about that, but I did it anyway because, I wanted my job.
Mm-hmm.
So, but after that long drawn out process, I realized what I had done. I had literally in the process created activities. So I had created activities. I said, anytime I know that I'm creating something, I need to do it for myself.
Yeah.
So I started trademarking everything that I was doing. And that's when I got the idea. I said, you know what? I can market myself. I can brand myself to do this in multiple places in the city of Houston, not just here at charter school. That's when I started reaching out to different people, trying to find out how to set up a tutoring service. I thought it was going to be a tutoring service at one point. And then it just snowballed into a nonprofit organization. And I started at a church. Actually, it was a friend's church. Mm-hmm. I started teaching GED. That was my first contract. My second contract was at a moving company to teach their employees so that they can advance in the company, so that, they can get their diplomas. Mm-hmm. Well, they would come back after they would graduate and ask questions about the financial literacy part, more so the math part, the financial statements, the balance sheets, and things of that sort. And I found myself consulting. So after so many people kept, I said, wait a minute, I need to set up.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes. I said, wait a minute, I need to set up something, because this nonprofit is one thing, but consulting is a total different thing.
It's completely different, right?
Yes.
So more, and I knew this was going to be a rich interview after our conversation beforehand, because you're saying so many amazing things. And a couple things I want to highlight about what you said just now is you weren't happy about having to create and build something, and but you did it anyway. And so many people stop themselves. You could have stopped yourself going for extra tutoring to really shore up your math skills. You could have stopped yourself when she said, build this, and it's like, and had a bad attitude and be like, oh, I'm not doing that. They already have a book. Why do they need? But God was leading you to create something of value. And the fact that you recognize the value in what you were creating as you were creating it is priceless. Because you recognize that value. You started to say, wait a minute, I need to copyright this and trademark. I need to, something's going to come of this. Yeah. So you had that foresight, that entrepreneurial spirit to think, this is valuable. And then you continue to see the signs of when things kept repeating. And this show is called Leading with Audacious Confidence. And you are demonstrating at every point that you were leading yourself, you were leading your life, but you were also leading others and picking them up and bringing them, pulling them up. So that is amazing leadership that you wanted, because you started as an LLC, you wanted the community to benefit and you wanted to lift everybody up. And I think that is remarkable leadership. So my question in this, before we move on to more of this amazing story of yours, is what is your leadership philosophy?
My leadership philosophy, it's really simple. If it's to be, it's up to me. So I don't expect anyone to do anything that I haven't done myself. And I don't coach anyone to do anything that I cannot do for myself.
Wow.
So I have to be the example first, and like, for example, our business credit program, I had to make sure that I had knowledge, not only book knowledge, but activity knowledge
and the
of
experience,
how
right?
the experience and how to set it up and compare that with what's in the market. What are other people saying that they can do? Are they truthful in saying that? And how am I different? So I have to make sure that I do my part before I expect anyone else to do anything that I'm telling them to do or inspiring them to do. Yes.
Wow. So you walk the walk and you walk your talk. You don't just talk your talk.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the other thing that I really appreciate too with your story is that you saw a need. It was beyond just, all right, I'm teaching this here, but you saw a need and then found a way to fill that need by seeing, okay, I had the GED program for right here, but other places in Houston could benefit from this. Other businesses, other communities can benefit. And let me see how. So you kept looking for the need and seeing how you can fill that need. And as entrepreneurs, that's really, really important, especially solopreneurs, to start looking around, because there is money to be made, but you have to see the need and then know that you have the resources to fill that need.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Far too many times as entrepreneurs and business owners, we're looking for the people, we're actually expecting people who don't really need our services to patronize our businesses because we're too lazy or lack the confidence to go out there and talk to someone who's a perfect stranger, but they may have been waiting on that call and they didn't know it was going to be you, but you didn't pick up the phone because you never said to yourself, I'm going to find someone who really needs me, as opposed to expecting people, to patronize my business.
Support my business.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's just about, understanding how valuable you truly are, having that confidence in who you are, and knowing that there are millions of people out there waiting for your service.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, wow. So, this is, like you said, a snowball. It's like one thing, it's building one on the other. So the literacy, the financial literacy program, was that part of the GED course that you created?
It was actually the math portion. It was just a part of the math portion. It really didn't start off like,
it was just a small thing that ignited a huge fire.
Yes, but because I had the background of teaching, because at the same time I was still teaching. I was still teaching grade school at the time when I started my nonprofit for the GED program. And so it was just my comfort zone in teaching math. Mm-hmm. So that's where, and I think that's where it just kind of snowballed, like you said, because it was so impactful. I didn't realize how impactful it was. They were coming back and they realized, oh, wait, I'm out here trying to do this in my business. I learned this at this particular GED program. Let me go back and ask some questions. So, and I always kept an open door policy because, like I was in the church. Most of the people who were in my class were members of the church.
Yeah.
And then the moving trucking company that I was contracted with, they were a great resource for many things. And then they were a referral through one of my colleagues, my teacher colleagues. So, there were just great relationships where they were able to come back and forth.
That's great. Mm-hmm. That is wonderful. And did you get the grant writing experience from writing for your nonprofit to get funding for the nonprofit?
Absolutely.
So you started pulling all these skills together and then using them as a service for others to now purchase. When you started your LLC, it's like, I learned all these different things, and now now this is a service that I have.
What started the grant writing was because, you know, like I said, when I started teaching, math was not my strong point, but writing was. You know, ever since 10th grade, I remember Miss Bonner. She is the reason why I wrote so well, because we had to write these journals and about our daily life. And the fact that she took time to comment on my little life, it just meant everything to me. So I started writing more. And so because of that, you know, I became a good writer. So I knew that in my bag of talents, writing was definitely one of them. So when starting the nonprofit, I said, okay, I can do my own grants. I know how to write persuasively. I know how to, you know, communicate, you know, literally. So that aspect was like I said, it was another comfort zone. So I had the math comfort zone and I had the writing comfort zone, which typically most people either are good at one, not the other.
My daughter is like that. She's excellent at math and excellent at writing, but she leans more to the writing because she loves the writing than the math. Yes.
So that's how I started. And the grant writing, when I started writing for myself, then I was like, okay, maybe I can branch out. So the first people I branched out to was the church that I was actually housed in for the nonprofit. So I was able to help them get started with their grant writing process. And they were my first client. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. And each step of the way, you gained more confidence in what you were doing so that you can help others in your community. Not only were you sharing your leadership and, you know, like rising everybody up, but you were also helping to build confidence. And one of the things I noticed too, within your story, is that you were never afraid to learn more. Again, that's something that stops people. They stop learning and growing, and because of fear, or they're afraid of failing or something like that. But they're at any point in your life, you can learn something new. You know, you can continue to learn new things, and then you can find something. Maybe you weren't interested in it as a child, but now you have a different perspective and a different passion for what you're doing. So when you talk about passion, it's so true. That's one of the other secrets to audacious confidence that I talk about, is that you have to be passionate about something. And when you're passionate about something, no matter what you have to do, you will find a way to get it done.
You will find a way.
You will find a way.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to do it.
Right.
So tell me about how your services, because I want to highlight some of your services. How does your services help the small business owner or entrepreneur?
Oh, good question. Our services are 100% tied to the right now solutions, and we trademark that statement because so many times I've ran into companies or individuals who offer services. They're so blanket and white and watered down that we decided that we were going to offer right now solutions. So those are solutions that you need in your business right now, and you can see a return on that investment of hiring us within the first 30 days, if not within the first week. You know, the goal is to impact immediately, impact every business owner. So even if it has to do with, you know, our initial consultation, you know, so many times we get comments from prospects. These are not even clients. They say, I've learned so much in 5 minutes that I've learned in the last few years in trying to run my business. That's what we're trying to provide. And in that, we provide business credit solutions. And we center most of our services around business credit because the challenge that most business owners have always has to do with revenue. It always has to do with growth. Some people say, oh, well, I'm okay with staying where I am. No, you're not, because if you were, you wouldn't get up the next morning.
Because if you're not growing, you're dying. So if you're staying where you are actually dying. Your business isn't growing.
Exactly, exactly. So we just focus on positioning each business owner with with services that are right now solutions for them. So for example, when we do a consultation, we make sure that the services that are applied or suggested to them relate to their right now solution, because your right now solution may not be another
Somebody else's. Yeah.
Exactly.
So are these established businesses or new businesses? Who is your ideal?
I prefer established because we have to go through a long drawn out process for some new business owners, but we welcome all business owners. Even if you just have an idea, like, you know what, I want to start a business. I have some investment. Where do I go? Where do I start? We work with those people, as well as individuals who I've been in business for 15 years. My revenue is between 500 to $1 million. I'm working on getting some federal contracts. Can you write proposals for contracts? Procurement. Yes, we can help you with that as well. So any of those dynamics, we're able to assist.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Wow. So if you're a business owner and you're looking for a solution, a right now solution, you got to hook up with Tyra, because she's got that right now solution for you. How many people are, actually, before I ask that question, there's another one that I wanted to ask. What has been your greatest challenge or mistake that you've made in your business as you were growing, and how did you overcome that?
Oof. My biggest mistake was getting mad at God. That was my biggest mistake. I got so upset because my business was not bringing in what the vision he gave me, right? So the vision he gave me, I'm like, this does not look like that. So, and then there was a big struggle with getting it to that point. So I got so frustrated. And the reason why I say my biggest mistake was when I got mad, because when I got mad, I quit. I stopped. I said, you know what? I'm not doing it. I literally tried to sell my business to another professional, and it did not follow through. Of course, when you know that you're outside of God's will, he will just sit back and like, okay, yeah.
Let me see. Give you some rope.
You do this without me.
Give you some rope. Keep there you go. Keep going.
Exactly. And she breached the contract because she did not follow through on her end. It was amicable, it was no problem. But the frustrating part is that I couldn't get rid of what I thought was a burden to me. But when I realized to say, okay, I needed to revamp my mindset, because the vision that he gave me, I was not going to get there in the way that I thought that I was going to get there. Right now, the way the business is flowing and growing is exactly the vision that he gave me. However, I'm like, why didn't I think about this years ago? Before I start tripping with God and start getting mad, I say, I'm putting all that to the side. I'm gonna go get a job, Right. So yeah, so that was my most biggest challenge and the biggest mistake that I had ever made, because I felt like I had wasted so much time. But I don't harbor right there, because even that was a growth process. Even that is still a learning process for me, because when I think about that time now, I'm like, I would never do that again. It's lesson learned, So yeah.
How did you? So you recognized it, but how did you recover from it?
Oh my gosh, how did I recover from it? Because the job that I wanted, I worked on it for about 2 months, and that was it. And so I looked at, I said, what do I have in my hand that I can, make happen now? I'm an entrepreneur, by heart. The job that I was in was welcoming my entrepreneur spirit. But I was like, okay, I don't have that anymore. So now what do? I say, okay, I do what I know I need to do. I'm just going to do it just to pay bills. How about that?
Yeah.
And that's the wrong thing. So, but that's where it started. And when I started along that path, that's when I found the flow. I found the flow because then I start connecting to different systems. Like, how can I, it's like, what not to do because you did that already. You made a mistake already. So you know what systems to put in place in your business so that you won't have those mistakes you had before.
Right.
So I started putting systems in place. I'll say one thing I know about business. If you don't have systems in your business, you're going to work in your business for the rest of your life.
That's so true.
Putting systems in before you try to bring on other people to help you with your projects. That's where, true success is. So that's what I started doing, and it just started flowing.
Very cool. Very good. Oh, wow. That's huge. Wow. So how many people do you have working now with you?
We have about 6 people that work with us. We have 2 grant writers that help with the grant writing now. That was also a vision of mine years ago. I visited a gentleman's organization. I don't think he's CEO now, FUSA. And when I saw that he had a team of grant writers that all they did all day was just write grants for his nonprofit, I said, that's what I want to do for other people. So we have 2 people who do that. And we have 4 analysts, and we have 2 business development specialists. So I guess that's like a little bit more than 6. Yeah. Yeah. And a couple of managers. Yeah, we have a couple of managers.
Excellent. Excellent. And how does your team flow? Like, what do you do to make sure that you have team synergy and in your leadership?
Absolutely. We have a company call every Monday at 8:30. Any successes that, especially our analysts, the goal that our analysts have every day is to perform surveys with business owners. Whenever an analyst get a survey appointment, they let their SD, their survey director, know, and we send shout outs. We have a group, a message where everybody is a part of it and everybody congratulates everybody. We have a training every Wednesday at 1:00. Where we come together and we talk about our softwares. Is there something wrong with our softwares? Do you understand the process and things like that? So we make sure that we come together at least officially at least twice per week. Yes. But other than that, we have our messaging app where we constantly
communication.
Yes.
Communication. Yes. And how do you solve conflict? Do you have conflicts in the office, or how do you solve?
Yes.
Always
through personal development. Because the first thing when we hire, we share with them that, it's mandatory for you to read. So if you don't want to read, this is not the place.
Yeah, wow. That's great. That is great. So you're always doing personal development. I love that. That's, again, that is strong leadership because, like you said, you won't ask them to do anything you're not doing yourself. So clearly you are a reader and you're reading personal development materials, and that's what guides the success of your office, is having that culture of being readers and leaders. So.
Yes. And I always say, if you don't want to read, Audible is great.
Right.
Especially when you're multitasking, if you're doing something that that your brain can start retaining so much. I play my Audible all the time. So
there's another little tip. If you don't want to sit down with a book because you have other things to do, turn on Audible and have it feed your brain while you're doing some other things. So that's great. Man, Tyra, this has been chock full of goodness. This interview.
Wonderful.
Oh. As we wrap up, because it's time to wrap, I'm so sorry to wrap up because I could go on and on and on because I'm loving this conversation. Any tips that you have for either business owners or people who are looking to start a business in starting to develop that leadership? Because if you start looking at, well, I don't want a small business. I want a business that I'm leading teams of people. Any suggestions or tips that you have?
Absolutely. First thing, the vision that most people have for their business is not small. So my advice is, don't try to start small. Initially setting up your LLC or your nonprofit, your 501. yes, you can do it yourself, but can you set up the financial structure that's needed in order for you to accomplish the goal of the vision that
to
you
grow
have?
and scale?
Yes, because far too many times we get clients who we have to go back and fix some things or how they structured their business when they first acquired their LLC. Well, I did it myself, or I went to LegalZoom. Don't go to LegalZoom. And with your taxes, if you start your business when you start doing things in your business. So my advice is to really understand that you are the entity first. You are the entity. The only difference in setting up your structure is the government paperwork. The SOS, the Secretary of State, the IRS, that's the official paperwork. Get advice on how to set that up before you set it up, because it makes a difference in you getting funded. It makes a difference in you getting grants. Right now, we have a lot of grants that are being given for LLCs, and that's very rare. So just get the proper advice and make sure that that person understands the tax code if they're giving you advice on how to structure your business.
Wow. It's great advice. And I have a link posted below. I'll post the link of how you can get in touch with Tyra. So yeah, get in touch with her, please. Get your business set up right. And if you didn't do it right, get in touch with her so she can get it right for you, because she is the right now. What is it?
Right
now solution. So,
right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tyra. I really enjoyed this conversation, and good luck with you and everything that you're doing. I know you're leading with Audacious Confidence. So Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I just absolutely love this platform. So I'm looking forward to coming back.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Take care.
All right. You too.
Audacious confidence is the unshakable belief in yourself that's so brave and so bold that you step into what's possible for yourself, despite your feelings, fears, or failures. I encourage you to follow, subscribe, like, and share this out with your friends. To learn more about our guests, check out some additional episodes. Go to aliciacouri.com/leading with audacious confidence. Until next time, this is Alicia Couri saying, live your life bold, brave, and step out with audacious confidence. Till next time. Mwah.